Hey, how's everybody doing today? So I got another document here that I wanted to show you all. But before I do that, I wanted to read something for you. If you want to pause this for a moment after I give you this citation, so you can look it up yourself and follow along, that's fine. I'm going to read Article 1 of the United States Constitution, Section 10, Clause 1. Now, this states, no state shall enter into any treaty, alliance, or confederation, grant letters of mark or and/or reprisal, coin money, emit bills of credit, make anything but gold and silver coin a tender in payment of debts, pass any bill of attainder, ex post facto law, or law impairing the obligation of contracts, or grant any title of nobility. Those last two things I want you to pay attention to. Law impairing the obligation of contracts, or grant any titles of nobility. So right now we're going to concentrate on the first part there, law impairing the obligation of contracts. Now, according to the Constitution and according to the established contracts with the public servants of Zanesville, Ohio, they are required by the contract to act. They have a duty to act to protect the populace from issues that might arise, such as noise disturbances, as outlined in Ohio Revised Code. See, these codes tell them what they are allowed and not allowed to do. These codes do not tell me what I'm not allowed to do or allowed to do. They don't pertain to me. If you don't understand that, then I don't know what to tell you by now. There's a separation, and these are commercial codes. This is not the law. So, with that being said, I'm going to get into the document here. So, David J. Tarbert was one of the witnesses that had bared false witness against me and claimed that I was causing harm and harassing and so on and so forth in an attempt to cover up their malfeasance because they were refusing to act, in which, like I had mentioned just a few moments ago, that they have a duty to act according to the contracts. So this is what David J. Tarbert did. Now keep in mind, this is the quote-unquote law director for Zanesville, Ohio, and well, I'll just get into the document here. You can see for yourself. So here's the heading here. I'll bring it up. See, City of Zanesville, Office of Law Director, has all that information. Let me see if I can get that to focus a little bit better. Okay, so AC address, date May 6th, 2020. He addressed it to the person, not me. Let's see. In regards to the non-emergency calls, the calls that I was making to the non-emergency line regarding the nuisance disturbance noise that I have evidenced more than enough times, that these incompetent and malfeasant public servants refuse to pay attention to. So this is what David J. Tarbert did. I'm going to read this for you. So it states, Dear Mr. Killer, in which that's not my name, so you misaddressed it anyways. As you may remember, I am the law director for the City of Zanesville. While my office does not typically send out warning letters when we believe a crime has been committed, I know you have devoted much of your life to the service of our country, and I wanted to provide you this well-deserved courtesy. Patronizing. The Zanesville Police Department informed me that you made over 153 calls. Let me move this up here. That you made over 153 calls in the past 3 months to the city's non-emergency dispatch line. This number of calls could easily disrupt the concentration and efficiency of our dispatchers, thereby possibly placing our officers and citizens at risk. I must ask that you cease and desist all non-emergency calls to our dispatchers. I assure you, whatever complaints or grievances you may have with the city are better suited for a conversation with your council representative, the mayor, or myself. Now, keep in mind, I've talked to all these people. This is just subterfuge, if that's the right word. I truly do not want it to reach this level. Bullshit. But any more non-emergency calls placed by you to our dispatch center could result in charges being filed. Such charges could include, but may not be limited to, disrupting public service, obstructing of official business, or telecommunications harassment. Obviously, if you have a true emergency, please do not hesitate to call 911. However, if you are just calling dispatch to vent your frustrations, I would ask that you find another outlet for those concerns. Otherwise, we will have no choice but to file charges. If you have any questions or concerns, please do not hesitate to contact me. And there you can see he signed it. Now, he sent it registered mail. And there's the little green card that got sent back through the return receipt process. You can see there the signature. Somebody else signed this. This was never delivered to me. It shows that it was, but clearly this is not my signature. I don't know what this information is, this SB or SL or whatever it says in the signature portion, and then the received by CO3C19. I have no idea what that is. I didn't write that. I never received this, but regardless, this is what they based the whole, all the charges that they threw at me this recent time through the county court. This is what it all stemmed from, was this asshat creating a contract which is impairing the already existing contracts. Let me just restate that here. So, law impairing the obligation of contracts. So what he's doing is he's creating a contract that is impairing their duty to act in their favor. So that way they don't have to act. They don't have to address the issues or the concerns of the noise. They're just ignoring that altogether. Now, here in the part, this is what really gets me. It says, this number of calls could easily disrupt the concentration and efficiency of our dispatchers. Well, they should have taken that into consideration and maybe addressed the issue sooner. This has been going on for well over 3.5 years, since July 2018. I don't recall the very first date that I had made the first complaint to the police department. However, they should all be very aware that they do have a duty to act. It says very clearly that their duty is stated in Ohio Revised Code 715.49 in sections A and B, where it describes that they have a duty to address noise concerns, disturbances of the peace. I can't remember the exact terminology off the top of my head, but it states it very clearly in that code. These are the codes that bind them, not me. So what he has done here is he's created a fraudulent contract, which is impairing their duty to act. So this is a violation. This is a color of law action depriving me of rights. This is a violation of Title 42, Section 1983 of the U.S. Code. Not to mention a violation of the Constitution. So, I wanted to show you all this document here because this is how David J. Tarbert operates. He doesn't understand that he has a duty to act. He should have addressed the disturbances in the courts. He should have been the one to file documents in the court against these business operators to force them to cease and desist their production in the middle of the night, which is a violation of these codes and statutes that actually apply to corporations. Because if you look up the word person in the definition, it states very clearly that it's corporations, companies, that sort of thing. So this is a perversion in a way to not only harass and intimidate me and force me to be silent, but potentially profit off of the fraud because of the bonds that are created and sold in the open market off of the charges that are created fraudulently. Not to mention that all of the police officers and detectives who were involved in this whole situation failed miserably at being aware of the fact that I already have existing contracts with the city outlining their malfeasance and fraud, and they have, in fact, by going through this whole process, have now added extra charges to their already laundry list of charges that I have and damages that I've outlined. And so I'll leave it at that. So the other part of the clause that I had read just a few moments ago talked about titles of nobility. Now, we all know, well, at least you should, if you read the Constitution, that titles of nobility are forbidden. They're prohibited. They're not allowed for a reason, but I'm not going to get into that. But it states very clearly and specifically that titles of nobility are not allowed. They're not authorized. Well, what is a title of nobility? Well, if any of you have dealt with attorneys or, say, people like Donald Mason, you would realize that they carry a title. They add a title to the end of their name. They claim that it was given to them by the state. And what that title is, they call it Esquire. Now, what Esquire actually is, it's the equivalent of a squire, like in medieval times or whatever you want to say, with under a monarchy where you have knights and jesters and all that kind of stuff. Well, a squire is basically one step under a knight. And so these people are taking this British title of nobility, Esquire, and attempting to set themselves apart as if they are better than the rest of us, as if they have more rights than the rest of us because they carry this title. But this title is unconstitutional. It's in violation of the Constitution. These people are directly and blatantly violating the Constitution that they should have sworn oaths to uphold and follow. So they are spitting in the eye of the contracts and the charters that were created that bind them, that tell them what they can and can't do, but they don't care. They don't care because there's no accountability. So just keep that in mind. When these people do and say things, they are not acting in our best interest. They are acting in the best interest of the corporation. They are acting in the best interest of themselves. And unfortunately, many, many times, we the people lose on that front. So I just want you all to be aware of this. These people are blatantly violating the laws, the actual laws. As you read there, or as you heard me read, I should say, in that letter from David J. Tarbert, he mentions, let's see, where was it here? He mentioned something about a crime being committed. Where was it at? Give me 1 second here. I gotta find the section. So, anyways, there it is. So he says, while my office does not typically send out warning letters when we believe a crime has been committed. I'm gonna stop there. So what they're saying is that my calls for service regarding this disturbing noise at night that I've evidenced on multiple occasions, I've tracked the sources down, I've evidenced the sources that they are operating their machinery and heavy equipment at all hours of the night. This asshat believes that a crime has been committed because of my calls for service. So even though they have a duty to act, even though they are obligated by the Constitution and by the established laws and by the commercial codes that bind them, they refused. And not only did they refuse, see, they committed a crime themselves. See, this is typical projection. They are projecting their malfeasance. They're projecting their crimes onto me. And I mean, this jerk off never even considered, what about my ability? Um, let's see. It was, where's it at? Here it is. The number of calls could easily disrupt the concentration and efficiency of our dispatchers. Excuse me. So they never, for once, have taken into consideration how this disturbance, this noise, this constant noise, which shouldn't be there, uh, it it disrupts my concentration. It disrupts my efficiency and my ability to rest and relax. They don't give a damn about that. All they care about is themselves. They're getting paid probably $100,000 a year, or somewhere around there. Well, these dispatchers, I doubt, but the law director, I'm sure he's making a good chunk of change for what he's doing or not doing in this case. And it amazes me that they get paid all this money and they don't take their time. They don't earn that paycheck by doing what they're supposed to do. They do all of this nefarious bullshit, and they create contracts which, according to them, alleviate their responsibilities. Well, it doesn't work that way. You have a duty and obligation, David J. Tarbert, to act, regardless of what you think or what you believe. I don't give a damn what you personally believe. You are acting as a law director, as a public servant for Zanesville, Ohio. Now, you've clearly shown that you have a complete disregard for that position, for that job, and for the people that you're supposedly protecting. So, because of this is what's going to get you in hot water, because you don't know what the hell you're doing, and your ignorance is getting you into trouble. So, I will be sending out documents, certified mail, outlining this to each, not only of the quote-unquote so-called witnesses, the 3 quota-hire dispatchers, and David J. Tarbert for bearing false witness against me, but also admitting their own stupidity by stating that they had no idea that there was an Ohio Revised Code 715.49 in sections A and B that described that it is their responsibility to address noise and disturbance issues. They have a duty to know that. It's not my job to micromanage them and make sure that they know what the law states or what the code states. That's their job to know that. They're bound by that. If they don't, that's called malfeasance in office. Well, there's remedy for that. So even though their nepotistic buddies in the courts cover for them, well, that's okay too, because there's another process, and I might get into that here in the future and go over that, but I want to serve these people appropriately and get everything on the record. And once I've contracted with my trustee, then at that point, I may put some of these documents up so you guys can see. You all can see the documents that I've written and the contracts that were created, in which these people are actually in violation of. So, God bless you all. Keep your heads up. Don't let anybody deceive you. You all know it. You all owe it to yourself to know the truth and let the truth set you free.